In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we'll celebrate International Women's Day, hear about a Massachusetts organization dedicated to the prevention of breast cancer, and check in at Falmouth High School to learn about their new theater program. All this and much more on this episode of Falmouth in Focus. Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm your host, Michael Kasparian. Here in Massachusetts, residents in Phase 2 of the COVID-19 vaccine rollout have been eligible to receive their shots since early February. But a shortage of the vaccine supply has continued to limit the availability of appointments, especially here on the Cape. Falmouth's health agent, Scott McGann, encourages residents to refer to the Falmouth website at falmouthma.gov for the latest vaccine information. You can view his Friday video briefings on FCTV Government Channel 15, our Facebook page, and fctv.org. March 8th is International Women's Day, so FCTV checked in with a local women's group to see how they observed the date this year and what they have planned for the rest of Women's History Month.
Hi, my name's Penny Duby, and I'm a part of the Upper Cape Women's Coalition, which covers Falmouth and Bourne and Mashpee and Sandwich. Well, we've sort of gone through a couple of iterations because a big part of our charge to ourselves is to listen to each other and to try to do a look around and see what's needed at that point in time. And for the 2020 and 2021 and 2022, our decision was that we are now avowedly political. And that doesn't mean we're Republican or Democrat, but we are working very definitely to build a community that can educate women as activists and advocates and allies to value their voices, to be able to learn about legislative change and participate at the civic level, the county level, the state level, wherever, in helping to make those decisions and make their voices heard about what in fact is important in their lives. And I'm confident that we're going to be moving forward because there are many women now who have determined that they want their lives and the lives of their daughters and nieces and cousins and grandchildren to be richer and fuller. And it's a question of finding and helping people understand that women do bring something to the table, and that our voices are as valuable as men, and in some cases a little more reasonable. I don't think we would be in the position we're in now in terms of the pandemic, in terms of our the racial situation in this country, had there been more women involved in some of the decision making. And I think it's about time that we, encourage more women to do that and help them in any way we can.
Thanks to Alan Russell for that story. It's time now for 3 Things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
Department of Public Works Director Peter McConerty updated the Select Board in their last meeting on the status of the Route 28 corridor conceptual plans. Mr. McConerty reported that the state has rejected Segment 3 of the proposed plan between Sandwich Road and Oxbow Road. Some of the aspects of the plan can stay, explained Mr. McConerty. The width and some dimensions will need to be changed. Mr. McConaty then asked the Select Board to reconvene the Route 28 Citizens Advisory Committee.
On Section 3, being more of a rural area,
That's
they
what I'm-
would look at different designs, but they would not, on Section 3, they would not look at something like a shower in the roadway and sharing the roadway, vehicles and bikes being on the same. They wouldn't. That's just something that they wouldn't look at. So they would want in an area like that, even in an area out there like that, they would not want bike lanes and bicycles on the street. They just, a bicycle's doing 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour maybe, and you got vehicles doing 40, 45 miles an hour with the trucks or what have you. So they look heavily upon that. I'm sure they would look and work with the town when they can, if they want to get the project done, and they know there's some interest with the town. But there's certain items that they lean on and they'll be strict on.
The Traffic Management Committee then reported to the board their initial recommendations for improving access to downtown Falmouth. The committee explained some of the process they went through and explained that they met with fire rescue and police departments, among many others, for feedback. The committee suggested that a lack of alternatives for people to get downtown other than by private vehicle, inadequate enforcement of vehicles, and lack of information and signage about parking were probable main causes of much of the traffic frustration on and around Main Street.
We sort of looked at what are kind of the main drivers of that. And we sort of summed it into three categories, if you will. The first is that the vast majority of people access downtown in private vehicles because the alternatives are inadequate or unknown. And we're calling that connectivity to the rest of the town, really, via non-private cars. Or that means anything other than private cars, not shared cars. Also that we have plenty of pavement already devoted to vehicles, but it's not really very well managed in terms of time limits and other constraints. And there's been inconsistent enforcement. So we're calling that management. And then finally, a lack of information and signage about parking. And that leads to visitors, especially just kind of wandering aimlessly looking for parking, people trying to parallel park rather than, going a block away to try to park more easily in the lots, and large trucks, boat trailers, and so on that have no business on Main Street.
The Select Board also went through the warrant articles for the upcoming town meeting and voted their recommendations. Articles 17, 23, and 29 were pointed out as being articles that are key for discussion. Article 17 is an amendment to the Code of Falmouth. Article 23 is to accept Winthrop Drive as a public way. And Article 29 is a petitioner's to establish safety zones in Falmouth where the speed limit will be 20 miles an hour.
Well, Articles 17, 23, and pardon me, Madam Chair, I think it's
29.
29 are the three key ones. Some of the other ones that the board looked at are the Finance Committee, of course, has a primary recommendation. That includes Article 33, that was that task force creation. It has a funding component like we talked about the last time.
Okay.
But I think those are the big three for the board to consider if that be your desire to do so.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll learn about a virtual bike-a-thon that's raising money to help prevent breast cancer. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm David Eisman.
And I'm Tom Pucci.
Tom and I are both board members of the Woods Hole Theater Company.
Since 1974, the Woods Hole Theater Company's mission was to inspire audiences through the magic of arts.
We're a nonprofit theater company engaging the community with affordable, original, and local entertainment year-round.
We call the Woods Hole Community Hall our home. If you're not already a member, you should consider doing so by going to woodsholetheater.org.
Becoming a member of the Woods Hole Theater Company is more than receiving discounts to shows and being the first to know about special events.
It's also a way to support your local theater. We can't do it without you.
So we're here to give a quick overview of what's going on at the Woods Hole Theater Company.
Last fall, we produced Talking With.
And a couple of white chicks sitting around talking in March.
We opened that show on March 13th, 2020, and closed it the same night as the COVID crisis hit hard.
It was painful, but it was the right thing to do. Safety first. But our wonderful cast, Heather Marin and Louise Patrick, had those roles mastered, and the show was wonderful. It wasn't easy to stop, but we knew we had to.
So as soon as we can, when things are safe, we will be bringing back Heather and Louise.
Don't miss it. They are fabulous.
And next on the slate, local playwright Gary Vacon and director Melinda Gallant have teamed up again with another original production called Uncertainty.
This is a story about a physicist grappling with his feelings about religion, family, a disabled daughter, and a messy planet.
And like their previous production, Mia's Cloud, this show is guaranteed to make you think.
We also had some sad news this year.
We lost Joan Edstrom.
Joan was a friend and trusted advisor to all of us on this board, and we miss her every day.
Joan wanted to direct a poignant and funny show about aging called The Velocity of Autumn. But sadly, she left us before she could get the production going.
In loving memory of Joan, Annie Hart Cool will be directing The Velocity of Autumn.
These shows will happen as soon as we can go live. But in the meantime, we have some virtual performances in the planning stage.
And we'll have details on those shortly.
And finally, we are filling out our program for 2021-2022. We have some big plans, but we are also interested in your ideas.
In that regard, we're soliciting proposals from directors.
Email us at info@woodsholetheater.org with your proposals.
For details, go to woodsholetheater.org.
We hope you will join us at one of our live virtual performances, or even better,
join our production team or participate on stage. It's fun and you'll make new friends. Your support means everything to us.
We are the Woods Hole Theater Company.
The little theater company that could.
Welcome back. The Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition is the leading nonprofit in the state dedicated to the prevention of breast cancer from environmental causes. To help support their mission, MBCC is holding several events in the coming months to raise critical funds for breast cancer prevention.
My name is Cheryl Osimo, and I'm the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition and one of the co-founders of Silent Spring Institute, our sister organization. We at the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition are dedicated to the prevention of environmental causes of breast cancer through community outreach, education, advocacy, and changes to public policy. We work with volunteers throughout the state and actually throughout the country. And we're very, very proud to be here on Cape Cod doing some national work as well. And really proud to be working with young people, helping us with our events and program work here in Massachusetts.
MBCC would like to invite everyone to join us on our first annual Bike for Prevention Bikeathon from Monday, April 19th through Sunday, April 25th, 2021. Participants can ride 1 mile or more either outdoors or indoors on their favorite route or on a stationary bike. For those interested but don't have a bike, don't worry. You can participate by just running or walking any distance of your choosing. All registrants will receive a free t-shirt, and all proceeds will go towards our cause for breast cancer prevention. MBCC would also like to invite everyone across the nation to join us for our 2 upcoming virtual events in the summer. We have a June event, Against the Tide, where anyone can participate from June 20th through June 26th for a half marathon, 13.1 mile, swim, run, walk, paddle, kayak, or whatever you'd like to do. We also have an August event coming up in 2021 from August 8th through August 14th. This will be a full marathon, 26.2 miles, swim, run, walk, paddle, or kayak, wherever you are.
In this, our 30th year, I'm so proud of the people throughout the state of Massachusetts and beyond who have been supporting MBCC's goal towards breast cancer prevention. We hope that people will come out this summer and support us at our Against the Tide event and swim, walk, run, kayak, or paddleboard. And in April, to participate in our first annual bike-a-thon. Students and friends like Charles McGinn, volunteers everywhere, thank you so much for supporting cancer prevention. Our goal is to change the world for our children, grandchildren, and future generations.
Their website again is mbcc.org. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that segment. The Enterprise newspaper is steeped in a rich history of covering the Falmouth community. We caught up with publisher Bill Huff to discuss some of the changes that have taken place spanning 4 generations of his family's ownership of the paper.
Okay, so my grandparents, George and Clara Huff, bought the Enterprise in 1929 with the help of my great-grandfather, George A. Huff, who was the city editor of the New Bedford Evening Standard. And they were absentee owners for 2 years while they were still working at the New Bedford Evening Standard, both my grandparents. And then in 1931, they moved to Falmouth and built this building behind us, or the core of it. The town was so small in those days that people wondered why they were building so far out of town off Main Street. They came in the depths of the Depression and managed to keep the paper going, but come World War II, all the activity at the base, the town grew tremendously. That era, in the 1940s, the paper probably changed more than it had, at least in appearance and the way they reported. The front page ads disappeared. The news was more straightforward and less folksy. Now, my dad came in 1951. I was just reading a piece by him of what Falmouth was like in 1951, and he said the war changed the world all over, and it changed a lot. In Falmouth, it changed too because of the Camp Edwards at the time. But in a lot of ways, the town was still the same as it was when he was a boy here, from 10 years old, about 15. The same selectmen. The East Falmouth was almost all Portuguese and lots of strawberry farms. Strawberry farming was a huge commercial part of the town in those days. But the town was there were only about 5,000 people in town even at then, and the circulation of the paper was about 3,000, which was considered very good. My sister Margaret and I, both of us are sort of casting around after college for a number of years and trying to figure out what we really wanted to do in life. And for very different reasons, we both ended back here in Falmouth. So Margaret and I took over as co-publishers in 1993. And then it was, now you were asking what it was like to work together. It was a challenge. Splitting up any business is a challenge. I think we did fairly well. But the newspaper was so profitable in the 80s and early 90s that we could make a lot of mistakes and get away with it, and we did. But we also learned a lot, and my dad taught us well, so we had a foundation. I had hired Chris Megan as our sales director, and that was 1991. And Chris and I started On the Water magazine in 1996, and that took a lot of our time and energy, but we managed to get that off the ground, and it was very successful. And in 2005, I sold my interest. We broke On the Water out as a business on its own, out of the Enterprise. I missed that piece. In 2005, I sold my interest to Chris, and with that, I bought my sister out. so I became the sole publisher. I think that the Enterprise in the print edition will be around for quite a while.
The Enterprise today publishes 4 newspapers, having added editions in Bourne, Sandwich, and Mashpee. Thanks to Bob Fenstermaker for this look back. Staying healthy while staying home during the coronavirus restrictions can be a difficult challenge. Local yoga instructor Niisa Morton has some tips on how to align your spine and improve your posture for her monthly Be Well segment.
Hello, my name is Niisa Morton, and I'm a wellness educator and instructor. Today I'd like to demonstrate how to align your spine and improve your posture. If you're not quite sure if you should do these movements, please check with your healthcare provider. Coming to a standing position, I want you to notice how the ground feels underneath your feet. You may find that your insides of feet touch the floor or the ground a little bit easier, or maybe the outsides of your feet towards your pinky toe. We all stand differently depending on whether our feet invert or evert. You also can pay attention and look at the bottoms of your shoes. That could be an indicator, depending on how your shoes wear out, how you step and move on your feet. That's just an extra tip. But today, you can stand with your bare feet pressing into the floor and just notice that. When you relax, you might even notice that your knees come a little close together and might possibly your shoulders come forward and even your head. This isn't bad, but I want you to be aware of that because we need to change how we stand and engage our muscles for better posture and more back and hip support. So, to fix all of this, or at least work on improving it, let's bring our feet together and make 11s with our feet. That just means that the toes are going to face forward. Now, if you have any hip issues or knee issues, and you shouldn't do that, then you may have your feet a little parted or out to the side. But I want you to concentrate on pressing into more of the pinky toe side of your foot if you feel your arch dropping into the ground. Now, imagine that you have a book on top of your head, and I want you to reach and hold that book as high up towards the sky or the ceiling as you can. And you'll just feel your spine lengthen, and you'll notice your head, shoulders, and hips all come into alignment and stack on top of each other. So if I was turning or standing to the side, in a relaxed posture, I might look like this, where my head comes forward a little bit, my shoulders round forward, my hips pop forward, and even my stomach comes a little bit more forward. And I feel a lot of pressure more towards the balls of my feet. When I put that book on top of my head and I start to stand up nice and tall, notice the change in my body. It's as if I'm sniffing a flower. So that might be another way to think about this. If you take a quick sniff in through the nose, you'll notice your head lifts right over your shoulders. Do a few shoulder rolls to get your shoulders back and down. Do a small belly pull-in to engage through your core muscles. And then check in and make sure your feet are at even underneath your hips. And this is a great way to hold your body in a good posture so that you can move around every day and have a tall walking gait opposed to looking down at the floor and walking as if you're catching up with your feet. So it's very important to stand tall for our walking, our running, and to prevent falls. So once again, stand tall, roll your shoulders back and down, press through your feet, and reach the top of your head towards the sky. Make sure you move your body every day, and may you be happy and may you be well.
Thanks to Niisa Morton for those healthy tips. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll check in with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute to learn about the Ocean Twilight Zone. Stay with us.
I'm Tracy Crago, Executive Director of Falmouth Volunteers in Public Schools. In times like these, it's comforting to know you have help if you need it. Falmouth VIPS is here for our students and our staff. With nearly 1,000 volunteers on our Ready to Help list, VIPS has come up with new and creative ways to stay connected and offer support. Embracing technology, VIPS volunteers continue their important roles as mentors, tutors, and academic coaches. They have become pen pals, recorded audiobooks, delivered meals, and shared their talents in our weekly Wellness Wednesday video series. Roles for volunteers not interested in technology are also available, including many projects that can be done from home. We can take your time and interest and turn them into rewarding experiences. Let's meet this challenge the Falmouth way, because together we are stronger. Falmouth VIPS, making connections between our schools and our community. Visit our website at falmouthvips.org or give us a call at 508-548-1621.
Welcome back. The Ocean Twilight Zone is a fundamental part of our oceans and has great benefit to humans. It's also an important source of food for many marine animals, including valuable species like tuna and swordfish. Let's check in with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution to learn more.
You're in the pitch black in the middle of the Ocean Twilight Zone. The sublights come on, and what you see looks like a blizzard of snow. When you look even closer, there are tiny microscopic plankton jumping from one particle to another.
The great age of exploration didn't end in the 1800s, it's continuing. And the Twilight Zone is that next frontier.
The Twilight Zone is this vast realm of the ocean, below the sunlit surface layers, down about 1,000 meters.
And it's about half a mile thick, like 2 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of one another. It extends around 2/3 of our globe.
It's deep, it's dark, it's corrosive.
We started out thinking of it as one layer, and we're now realizing there are many layers within layers. It's a very structured and complex habitat.
It's a mysterious, high-pressure, low-temperature environment. We used to think of the Ocean Twilight Zone as something of a desert, and we weren't aware of all the incredible biomass and biodiversity.
The fish have adaptations that are hard to believe. Cool critters with their big teeth and their lights on their bellies and their lights under their eyes.
There's amazing stuff there that we don't understand.
The more we learn about the Ocean Twilight Zone, the more important we are finding it seems to be for the whole ocean ecosystem.
Any open ocean organism is relying heavily on the Ocean Twilight Zone. Things that we eat ourselves, tuna, sharks, big top predators in the ocean, they all feed on these little critters.
The animals that live in the Twilight Zone play a major role in regulating our planet's climate.
We took all of the marine life out of the Twilight Zone. That would have huge impacts on the ocean's ability to sequester carbon. Whether you're living inland or you're seeing the effects of sea level rise, if you're in the interior, that will affect all of us.
It will be a critical piece of how humans both sustain and thrive in the following century.
The opportunity that we have in exploring the Twilight Zone is really exceptional for humanity to understand a new frontier.
Because this area of the ocean is so undersampled, the potential for discovery is enormous.
There might be 10 times or perhaps even 100 times of the biomass than we thought previously. And if these numbers are correct, that completely changes the way that we view the functioning of the entire ocean.
We're only just learning how important the Twilight Zone is. Getting to those answers, getting to those fine details of how the Twilight Zone fits into the bigger picture of the planet is a phenomenal undertaking.
The Ocean Twilight Zone is a huge habitat. We know almost nothing about it because it's extremely difficult to study. A place like the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution is poised to change that because we have experienced engineers who know how to build the technologies that help us to overcome the incredible challenges.
New tools coming online, new ways of observing, new technologies, new sensors, autonomous underwater vehicles, it can be ocean observatories.
robots to go down and find these critters in their natural habitat.
Could really be a game changer, revolutionize our ability to study the Twilight Zone.
We have so many things yet to learn. We need answers to these important questions quickly.
We don't know enough about the Ocean Twilight Zone to be able to see the impact that we're having on it yet.
Now's the time where we could make wise decisions that would prevent a future disaster.
We're really beginning to accelerate the speed of discovery. The stakes could not be higher. We have an opportunity here to do things differently right now.
Thanks to Hui for submitting that very interesting video. Falmouth High School is committed to the concept of a comprehensive education. The newly created theater program is a part of the education within the Fine Arts Department at FHS. Theater allows students to learn more about a number of skills including acting, directing, set design, lighting, sound, and costume design. Let's hear about how students are getting a hands-on opportunity to explore theater at Falmouth High School.
Hi everybody, my name is Alyssa Guida and I am the theater teacher at Falmouth High School. Our theater program is still relatively new to the high school, and this is only the second year that it has been in existence, but we already have a pretty expansive course offering for you all. The first course that you are able to sign up for is Intro to Theater. Then there's theater production, musical theater, creative dramatics, and theater outreach. And I'll give you a little bit of information about each one of these. Intro to Theater is probably the place you want to be if you're not even sure if you really like theater, or if you're not sure which area of theater that you like the best. Intro to Theater is sort of a modge podge of all different areas of theater. We talk about theater history, going all the way from the beginning of theater time with Greek theater to Shakespeare to realism, and then to more contemporary present-day theater. We also talk about very basic acting skills. We read a lot of plays and respond to them. We also discuss musical theater, and then we also intertwine technical theater aspects like set design, costume design, lighting, and sound in with each unit. Then we have theater production, which is pretty much a strictly technical theater class. In this class, there is no acting involved. There is pretty much just design. We talk about set design, costume design, lighting design, and application, and sound design. If you're interested in set construction, that is currently more of a woodworking and woodshop with Mr. Brooks kind of class. But if you're interested in how to design a set, this might be the class for you. Musical theater is another class that we offer. We start talking about musical theater history in America, and we really go through the beginning of musical theater time in the 1800s and go all the way up to present day. We also watch and respond to a lot of musical productions, some full productions, some just scenes and musical numbers from various musicals. We also have a special emphasis that we place on auditioning skills. So if you are someone that is interested in pursuing theater outside of high school and you've never been to an audition before, we hopefully can get you prepared for that. And then we also focus on the triple threat, singing, acting, and dancing skills in that class. Creative Dramatics is a class that we offered last year. It's not currently running, but it is a mix of directing and playwriting. And what we do is 1 quarter on directing skills where you learn how to analyze a play as a director. And then you also get a chance to direct a scene from a play using your fellow classmates as your actors. And then the other quarter is on playwriting. And we focus on the different elements that go into writing a play. And then we end with writing a 1-act play each. And then our last current offering is theater outreach. And theater outreach is basically an internship opportunity in which upperclassmen, 11th and 12th graders get the opportunity to work with me. And you get to kind of see what it's like to be a theater director, what goes into making a production. And we do a lot of things where we talk to different theaters in the community, and we see how we can make our FHS theater program a part of the theater community here on the Cape.
Thanks to Ryan Weber for that story. FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. And we leave you now with sights and sounds from throughout the Falmouth schools. Thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.